Our topic today is slope. We, as underwriters, have looked at slope over the many years. We thought we've always had to do the whole rise over run methodology to determine the slope. And Scott, one of our team members on today, was talking to an agent, and we wondered if we could solve it. And Scott, can you kind of lead us into that conversation and what led us to try and solve this slope calculation issue?
Yeah, SlopeScout was a direct result of feedback we received from both our customers and from independent agents. I know from an underwriter, whether you're looking at quake or flood, looking at rise from distances of water, um, it was very manual calculation. I would put up Google Earth, which I would try to find the free version because we didn't have access to it, and I would be manually dropping lines from bodies of water or across the parcel line to see what the elevation change to look like. And we got similar feedback from independent agents that are asked to provide that type of information to their carriers that are either providing Quake or DIC. So this was a result of trying to find a solution to problems faced by many.
And slope's one of those things. I mean, as a young underwriter, I remember, you'd always look for that particular spot within an application. Back then it was paper apps. Today it's not. And so when I think about slope, and Chris is our underwriting expert, there's a lot of stuff about slope. We always worried about earthquake and landslide, but there's way more to slope than that. Chris, do you have some wonderful insights, as you always do, as to what you might worry about with slope?
Certainly. Property insurance rates are based on well-maintained buildings on flat property. They don't anticipate any kind of significant slope. Slope over 10% or 10 degrees increases the cost to rebuild the home and makes it more and more difficult for wildfire or for fire department resources to access the property. Once it gets over 20 degrees, the costs really begin to mount with specialized foundations, sloping roadways into the property. Uh, Wildfire loves a hillside. It loves a slope. It just goes from the bottom to the top very effectively, and also can channel the wind in those situations. Uh, Trees on hillsides are affected by gravity like anything else, and they don't have an engineered foundation, and they tend to fall much more quickly and more frequently than would be on flat property. And you're frankly, more exposed to direct weather. Nobody wants a nice screen of protective trees in front of their house blocking their view of the sound, so they cut all those down. So now you're just really getting all the wind and rain, and in some areas of the country, hail, direct as a direct exposure.
The one I always think about, and I don't know why, it's probably because I had some losses like this, would be you're on a pretty good slope with a sometimes not great staircases or pebbled beach, whatever, up to the house, and the slip and fall action that happens there. Yeah, you have a mid limit, but still that potential for having invitees and non-invitees slipping and falling and hurting themselves. Kids, let's set up a trampoline on that slope, see what happens. A lot of that kind of stuff that occurs, and I think that it's yet another thing to worry about with slope. So we've underwritten slope for years, and as Scott said, right, how do we figure out a way to do this more strategically, intellectually, and have access to our customers, including subscribers as well as agents? And we've actually built it. And so Carrie Napier from our team, she is a GIS guru, brains of the operation, great at project management. She's kind of led this uh, development, and we wanted her to be here to tell us a little bit about how it works and what the experience would be for a customer when they come in and use our slope product, Slope Scout.
As Scott was saying earlier, often in what you have to do when you're trying to measure slope is pick your points along a line and do just a straight rise over run calculation. And it can give you an idea, but there's a lot more nuance that can happen, in between one point and another. So what we've done is, we're taking digital elevation models, and we're actually taking the elevation at each of those points. And so the report that you'll be able to pull with SlopeScout will show you the chart of what is happening along every line that you're selecting. So you get a lot more detail about what's happening between your beginning and end point. And we also will do that along an X and a Y within your building so that you'll be able to get a cross section and be able to see both directions very quickly. And you'll be able to spin your vertices the way that you want along your building orientation. Just a much more simple calculation or interaction on your part in order to get a much better, a much more detailed view of your elevation around your building. Currently, we are using building footprints as the basis for how you will calculate slope and how you will select. So you'll select a building, and from there you'll be able to calculate the slope around that building. And what we've done is we've compiled the Microsoft building footprints and the OpenStreetMap building footprints. We've made kind of a compilation of those to get really good coverage across the state. And we've also matched those building footprints with the parcel address underneath that. So you have that built into the data as well. We currently only have it for Washington State, but depending on usage and everything like that, we can expand to other states.
Although it sounds a bit technical about how the computing's being done, I think the maps or the charts that we put on there are very intuitive to simplify a very complicated process. So when you take a look, you can see the slope, how it's approaching the building, where it's at the building footprint or foundation, and as it exits the property. Simplifies what could be very complex.
We do have really high quality elevation data across most of the state. And so we're actually able to take the elevations often every 1 meter, so like 3-ish feet. And so that really allows you to see a lot of detail. We've been able to pick up a lot of retaining walls and different things like that that you might miss if you're just looking at, one beginning and one endpoint. And we've also made the effort to do our calculations so that you get, kind of intuitively the slope that you'll get. Intuitively, when you look at a line, you can kind of see, or a hill, you'll say, oh, that's about a 10% slope. And so we've really tried to factor our calculations in so that it gives you that intuitive kind of what you see in your mind when you look at a hill to show that on our charts as well.
Yeah, Slope Scout has a lot of computing power, being that it's doing an elevation analysis every 1 meter or approximately 3 feet, and that was definitely one of the hidden benefits of when we were testing it. Is I put in my address, obviously as a test location, and it easily picked up the retaining walls both behind my house and in front, um, which was a nice added benefit, a nice bonus.
Yeah. It picked up the slope on my property, which is, to say, negligible. It was 3 degrees. I went and pulled the title, and the engineering survey says 3 degrees. So it works, and it it was a fairly small slope, and so, but still dead on.
Automatic and accurate.
Agreed. Yeah, all you have the beauty of this product, and really what we started at was how can we just make rise over run easier to figure out? And it's evolved into this really beautiful product that you pick your address, it hits the middle of the building, it spreads out from there, and you can manipulate how far out you want to stretch it to see what the slope is, whether that be 15, 20 feet behind the house out to have 300 feet is what our standard is. But you will enjoy getting to play around with it and making sure that you know what you're getting into when you price and write a risk. And so we're not just kind of, we're extremely excited for this to launch in late September. And we look forward to all of you using it and giving us feedback and enhancing it and giving us ideas. So look forward to that here in the next month or so when we launch it. And again, thanks to this team for helping us talk about it, get the world excited about it. And we look forward to all of your input when you view the video. And again, if you have other ideas about what we can talk about on the Quick 15, We always appreciate ideas, and we're always happy to jump on the video here and talk about it. So thanks all. We appreciate it.